bookshelf? Pan knows.
2009.
2009. Yeah, it's crazy. And then I have this, just proof we've been around for a minute. We got the best open mic 2010.
Yeah.
Right there. So I normally don't have those things on hand at our open mics, but since I'm in my place, I wanted to share that with y'all. All right, so we got a few left. Thank you all for sticking around. This is awesome. This is great. All right, let's give it. Pan, you're up.
Oh man. Okay. Can everybody turn their shit on so I can hear them?
Yeah.
So, okay. I have a couple of love poems because that's all I fucking write. Or I could tell you about this fucking exorcism that I once saw. What?
Exorcism.
What do you want? Wait. Okay. All right. Okay. For the love poems, make some noise. That was nobody. There was. You're gonna hear about this fucking exorcism. The exorcism.
Exorcism.
Do it.
All right. Okay.
We all know that's what you were going to read.
Okay, so this is absolutely true. If you don't know me, I live a cartoon life. It seems like it's fucking fictional, but this shit always this is true. So it became fucking quarantine, and like my friends were all like, hey, I'm gonna go back and like learn some more stuff. I'm gonna go to this school and that school, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to fucking psychic school. I'm gonna become a psychic friend. So I go to the psychic school, and they're doing a line reading, which is like two psychics, and like I'm getting read. So I'm sitting across from these two psychics, and there's this little woman. She's reading me, and then she starts trying to get me to act like a child. Like she starts trying to like get my inner child to like, and her voice slowly starts dropping down like, and I'm thinking, holy shit. And then the master teacher's like, hold on one second. And she's like, Linnell, is that you? And it's like, no. And her voice drops like 2 registers below mine. A tiny fucking woman. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here. And I'm trying to leave. And then the woman starts absolutely like flipping out. And so I'm sitting there, and the master teacher's like, Pan, I'm so sorry. You can't leave. You have to sit there. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And then she slowly backs off to this other woman who's a very old woman. She's like, slowly gets her away. And it's me and this fucking demon. We're just looking at each other. And then the woman's like, where is Linnell? And it's like, under control. And it went like,
oh shit.
And then I was like, oh fuck. And then it's like, what is your agreement with Linnell? And it's like, how did you get here? What is your agreement? And it's like, piggyback. And then like, I'm expecting her to like puke on me, like some fucking green, like pea soup. And I'm like, holy fuck. And then the thing goes like this. It's looking right at me, and it lifts his hand up like this. And it goes, we do not like you. And then it goes, we are afraid of you. And it's just like pointing at me and looking down. And so she's like, she talks to this thing, and then she's like, would you like to go home? And it's like, yes. And then so she fucking pulls this. She grabs, like, she's grabbing the air, guys. This is all imaginary shit. But she's pulling this fucking demon out of this woman's head. And the woman's like lifting up off the ground, and then she falls to the ground, and she's weeping. And she sits back up, and she's got this amulet on. Now the rest of that, I could have just been being punked, right? Like they could have like put a fucking recorder on her to lower her voice that way, and like you can act like you're a puppet, like I can act like I'm a puppet. I'm like, okay, because I have like science degrees. I have social science degrees. So I'm thinking like, okay, that could all be punk. This I can't fucking understand. So she's like, Linnell, what's that around your neck? And she's like, oh, it's an amulet. I bought it here and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's a portal. We got to get rid of that. So she like pulls and cuts it off and is holding it. And then she looks at me and she's like, Pan, what should we do with it? And I'm like, why the fuck are you asking me? I'm like, and I just said the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, put it in water. And the master teacher's like, yes, that's correct. Let's put it in water. So she's holding it, and then they go and get this ice cold cup of water, like ice cold from the cooler cup of water. And they're like, Pan, you have to hold it. I'm like, why do I have to hold it? And they're like, because they don't like you. I'm like, oh, great, okay. And so I'm holding this fucking cup, and then they dump the amulet into the cup. Now the thing is cheap metal, and it's cheap metal and it's clay. So what happened next is I don't know how it happened. They dumped the thing into the fucking cup, and I swear to God, the cup began to boil. Like it got hot and began to boil to the point where the cup was disintegrating. And the master teacher is like, Pan, what do we need to do now? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I just said the first thing that came to mind. I'm like, we need to throw it in the lake. And we were by Lake Virginia, the Virginia Lake. And I'm like, we need to throw it in the lake. I have never played Dungeons and Dragons, but that night I played, like, I've never played, but I played, like, I went to the lake with the thing, and she's like, you got to throw it in. So I chucked this fucking amulet into the lake, and it goes out straight as an arrow, like, and then it gets like to a certain point, and it takes a complete 90-degree turn, like it's trying to get back to the shore. So it's like, and it just fucking starts heading back to shore, and it hits a rock, and it falls in. And I've never experienced anything fucking thing like that in my life. It was the most terrifying and crazy. There's a lot more going on than we expect, y'all.
Yeah.
That is my exorcism story.
That was delightful.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
So you're good though now, right? There's nothing following you around, Pan?
No, I mean, I'd probably. I mean, I don't know.
There probably is.
They throw you in the lake,
Pan and I
man.
are about to record an album together, and you better not bring that shit to my place. All right. All right, we're gonna keep it going. Let's see who we have next. Got to recuperate from that. That was a great story. All right, Hannah, you are up next.
One second. Okay. So I do have 2 poems. I have a couple trigger warnings. So the first one does talk about sexual assault and death and dying. So if anyone wants to mute, I'll give you a second on that. And then the second one also talks about death and dying. So yeah. The first one is called The Fall. This was for an English assignment that never happened because the world ended, so I thought I'd do it here. 7th grade first semester, an 8th grade boy who I didn't know spent a week of my life 8 paces behind me on the track and in the halls, poking me while I tried to use my locker, and I hesitated to tell anyone because I didn't want to overreact. Later that year, a friend told me to stay away from a guy we shared a class with because he had done things to someone at school, things I couldn't understand yet. Admittedly, I didn't know what the story meant, didn't have the vocabulary to advocate for consent, but I knew that people shouldn't have to touch anything they didn't want to. And when I went to class the next day, I held my books to my chest a little tighter at the sight of him as I fell from innocence, and I felt the impact reverberate. Innocence like a treehouse you don't know you were in until you hit the ground. Sophomore year, a student died on a mini bike at a 4-way stop, and the school grieved for a few days before the vast majority forgot, because the onslaught of tragedy in this world would take us down with it if we didn't forget. Last November, Aaliyah Lucina was gone forever. And as my school mourned the backstory to the law enforcement lights we saw on the way to school the prior morning, the principal warned us that we weren't invincible in crosswalks, as if we felt fucking invincible after a classmate had just died. What about the pickup truck that drove away after hitting a child, that left her in the dark for a student to find too late to save? We say we lost her, but she was taken. So we pleaded through defeated cries, if an adult could kindly pay notice to whoever stole her life, that life that we all heard break like a clock knocked drunkenly to the floor. We don't need anyone telling us about our pride. It was everyone I never knew, and everyone I wished I could forget, everything that made me close my eyes and hope to wake up on that fall to cold earth, and it was that look back up at the wooden paradise I had enjoyed for a short while that reminded me how passionate, how random, stuff. My second's edited. I think here. This is quite a poem is brave. I save myself a little each time I sit down with a pen, though through each internal rhyme I wonder if I'm the only one who hears what I have done, and if so, if what I have done matters. I feel like I'm going crazy. The fall brings denim, flannel, and starry nights, pumpkin patches picturesque but unamusing because no one got along that day. My joy slips away through the greedy fingers of the momentary, but now I'm sure that I was happy then. When will I know pleasure in the present tense? I wish I wrote someone else's story so I didn't confuse facts with the truth. I wish I was writing the story of a ballerina who leaps across the stage and loves the way she pirouettes gently, laughs the way she spins with a delicate grace. Tracing the silhouette of such a skeleton would allow me a taste of false simplicity. Sometimes I wish the ballerina's shadow would envelop me like a San Francisco fog. Please let me be light. Last night, I imagined myself shot dead in a dark, grainy street, my legs and feet slightly extending, my reality bending, amending my self-constitution, my composition of blood and bones reordered and updated and upending my psyche. I was frightened because I saw the little lump of body like a documentary I was filming. With a shaky hand, the crimson leaking onto the asphalt, too bright to leave uncaptured, so I filmed through gagging breaths and wide eyes with big black pupils, teary yet brutally attracted. I am scared from outside of my shell, though she and I never did get along too well. I feel like I'm going crazy. As I lie awake, I think of a friend from a past life with the longest hair of anyone I knew, who would lie under her covers wishing to be gone. I remember how each object in her room felt heavy, as if it would take two of her to take out the trash. It's easy to forget who you discovered love alongside in favor of the lover himself, but she went first and then I, like a fly on the wall, a book on the shelf, blank and ready to be written in, opened myself to her stories, and she told me excitedly how the walls in that house were thin, but she snuck him in some nights with tiptoes and passion shared in the cool secret air. Our first ever homecoming game, we ate nachos and glanced up from time to time while our team got its ass kicked. But too, she sent risky messages to the boy she would later love, and proud she read aloud his responses, things that would sound tame now. But of course, we were young. At some point, I decided to start writing instead of being written. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Hannah. All right, so I just sent a message just so I wasn't interrupting anything, but we have a couple left, and so if anyone wants to jump on, we probably have room for a couple more. I just want to make sure, is Jamie here? Just want to make sure, because Jamie did sign up ahead of time, but I don't know if that person is here, so. All right, so that leaves us with Steve. If Steve, were you wanting to do something? All right, so let's give it up for Steve Elegant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve! Woo!
Yes, Steve.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How you doing, Steve?
Doing all right, actually. Doing all right. I was missing two shits today, so I found a couple of old poems that I had done while doing that wonderful, wonderful thing.
Who should?
Just missing a lot of old friends, and so I'm gonna read two. They are both from way too long ago, but hopefully you guys enjoy them. All right. My torrid little dream of minor inconvenience wrapping its fists against the glass outside my window. Humorless in its approach toward my purloined sleep and reckless dreamscapes of infinity. Its footsteps make quiet mockery of the fastidious stonework it treads upon. I've dreamt all this before, so this telling is just for you. Its eyes bleed the hopeful ideologies of youth, fascination with the sense of so much degraded form, too numb to feel the sensation, fail to bring a favored response, so its actions are all measured memories. I knew this before it all began. I played a role, and I'm far too frail to end it myself. I want the screams to be real for once, just a mirror of a mirror reflecting off my walls. I want its lust to be of me for now. I want that more than the touch of more itself. I need the peace of this. I want to be free of this tethered panorama, a plethora in bruised skin and blackened sight. Too much of myself in this to ever let go, but the visions of ecstasy in your vein drives me further. Reel back from myself to see the scene in motion. I know every flaw in your flesh now. I know what wasn't put there by me. Its placement forces me to have it out. Your smile, an empty reminder of what it is about to end all this. With tears, I allow this deviation of the flesh to continue, with every beat of my heart matching in my wrists. Your crescendo, a parallel of my own. This meant nothing, but its voice will ring in my ears for the rest of today. And that was my first one.
Yeah.
So that was from a long time ago, and I was very much nonplussed with the world. And you're gonna get another one of those. Because yeah, that's me. These are my written poems. I don't normally write poetry. I normally just give you guys a lot of poetic word vomit. So the fact that I'm actually reading poetry for once is kind of a pleasant thing for me. All right, here's my second one. I'm fighting for the return of a memory, and it seems like a haze behind so many cloudy distinctions of happiness in between. It's not a pleasant thought, but I need it right now. I'm hiding this from me. I am taking this away from the moments that drip like rain before my eyes. I'm not surprised that I haven't seen it in a while. I feel lost without it. I am too needy of my thoughts. I just can't seem to separate myself from them, though. This general disposition pleases me, I think, as I impress the reek of sanity back onto this cold steel frame of my existence. The supplementary advance of rudimentary norms, the speech of good-night lovers passing, the hard swell of discontented lullabies, happenstance commodities staring blankly at this cold page. Is this the sum of me? Am I just lost thought, left wandering open skies for a series of hard decisions, knowing yet disdaining the simple climaxes of foregone conclusions? We live in the hopes of knowing, dying in the regret of abstaining. Were we only puppets of the thoughts we deny, or the ones we consume? Compulsory marks of energy that forgot the thought that set them free. All right, thank you.
Thank you for the stuff.
That was some strong word vomit.
Well, that was actual written poetry, so feel happy about that.
All right. So we got just two left, and this is the open portion. So we'll have Jill, and then after Jill, we'll have Swell, and that should conclude our open mic after those two, unless someone wants to hop on. But yeah, let's get to it. So Jill, if you're ready, let's welcome Jill to the open mic. Let me unmute you.
Hi. I'm feeling really nostalgic. I live now about, hi to me. I live about, I don't know, maybe a half a mile, quarter mile from where I grew up. And my grandfather was on the train. And I wrote this. It's not about my grandfather. It's just about the things that comfort us and things that are familiar. And right now, those things are kind of nice. And my grandmother's been coming up for me a lot lately. So I'm going to read a couple, one about that, one about the train, and one about her. Here we go. The same train that moaned like a polyphonic owl through the lace curtains of my night window 40 years ago. She sings tonight, only now my ears hear different things. The plaintive horn seems synthesized, dripping with harmonic mystery, her Southern Pacific breath. Heaving in time with motion and resistance, the struggle and the dream and echo, traces of the blood, vigor, strain, and the endless bone-cracking hammer swings, coercing the reticent metal into invulnerable tracks. A song of steam and smoke, the deep and belching exhale that ignited a revolution that crisscrossed a nation, that connected shores to help us dominate the earth and get us our stuff, that shows us our own flawed and finite nature and our fear of a future that we cannot control. On her way to call us to cheer, she cheers, lighting up the valley with a lonely song of progress. Her time it is past, but she doesn't know that. She was built to keep the faith in all the rhythms of the age.
Yeah.
That was the train poem. Okay, and this one's about my grandma. Sort of. About apples, but she was a teacher, so that's why. You guys made me cry. I have no makeup on anymore. Last week, a child brought me an apple, and she smiled, delighted to have given. And I looked in her eyes, and I saw the hope, the acknowledgement, that acknowledgement and attention bring to her. I thought of my grandmother teaching kindergarten at Hunter Lake. I saw the apples of her precious laughing cheeks from the point of view of someone only 3.5 feet tall. And I thought of the apples all over her classroom, her home, the bubbly glass apple on her giant teacher's desk, red like pink, like a candy apple at the fair, and smooth on the outside with tiny traces of the air that created it dispersed throughout it like stars. I imagined the stickers and the fall decorations and the smell of apple pie in the kitchen. And then I imagined the apple tree on the downhill side on the walk home from school as the middle school boys hurled apple cores and insults at the back of my head. My apple was sweet, though, the one I had plucked from the branch that overhang the chain link fence full of foxtails, poorly masking a cigarette butt, a gum wrapper, a deployed condom. This apple, this one I picked for myself, I ate slowly while I stared at the ground, while I walked, counting steps and moments where there was no safe place between the cracks on the sidewalk. But the sidewalk at least went somewhere. Maybe somewhere I could bear it all. Anyway, the apples are sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna have Swell come up, and I just want to put this out before Swell goes up, is if you have any ideas moving forward, anything you'd like to see us do, if you want, if this is something we want to continue until we get back into a venue, I'd like that feedback. If just any ideas just to keep the poetry going, always up for suggestions. So feel free to just contact, I'm friends with most of you on Facebook or whatever. If not, the emails, the Spoken Views account, I run that as well. So you're always usually talking to me, anything Spoken Views related. So yeah, just let me know. Love these kind of creative processes we're going through during this time. I mean, I wish I could be with you all and give you all hugs and everything, but that's not the reality right now. But the poetry is powerful, and thank you all for doing this. But without further ado, I want to welcome Swell up to the mic. So give some love.
Hi. Can everyone hear me?
Gotcha. Yep.
Okay. So I do have to warn everybody. About 9 days ago, something pretty sad for me happened, and it's dealing with the death of my dog. So I wrote her something on that night, and I do eventually want to make it a little bit better, but I think I still need some time to process it, and I think this is definitely part of it. So I wrote, "You never liked it when I was sad, but today I can't help but be the saddest I've been in a long time. You never liked it when I was sad. You were always the first to come and comfort me. It was always the same sniff of the leg and worried look you would give me that broke me out of these moments. I know you felt similar as soon as I found you hiding in the backyard under those branches, and you looked me in the eyes and they shined. But you still look sad and worried. I just wish I could have snapped you right out of it like you always did. Your breaths, which normally calm me, with how long and slow they were short and heavy. Even in those moments where I felt like I would not take another breath of air, you reminded me to breathe. So seeing you struggling to do that very thing was the most pain I've felt. It happened so fast. The drive, the half reassuring looks at the front desk, and worried looks 10 minutes later. It almost felt the same as the summer before senior year in high school when your friend and my cat was hiding. I know you missed him. I'll never forget you looked all over the house for him. A few months later, when we got a new kitty, you greeted her with as much love as Simon. Only this new cat probably shared it more than he ever did. I think the bond between you and Olivia was magical. But this isn't any easier. When I found you in the backyard, Olivia was already taking care of you, watching over you from her post. She respected you and even brushed by you one last time as we left to say goodbye. I know it's going to be hard not waking up to you knocking on my door, you trying to stop me from putting my work shoes on, greeting me at the door when I get home, sitting by me while I eat dinner. I'm so sad right now, but you never liked it when I was sad. I tried not to cry as we spent our last moments together, but you looked at me like you understood, and you never looked so beautiful. You gave me one last reassuring look and said goodnight. You never liked it when I was sad, so I have to be strong because you were so strong today. And these last 7 years I've known you, you've spread so much love and joy. I just want to let you know that I love you so much, Leia. My doggo, walk in the sky.
Oh,
Thank you.
man.
All right, y'all. Wow, there's a lot of heavy stuff tonight. So thank you all for being brave and sharing your writings and showing up and just keeping this movement going. I do appreciate every single one of you. Never thought it would, come to this, but we're keeping it moving. So I'm so happy just to see your faces at this point and hear the words and the poetry. So thank y'all. So just keep in touch. Like I said, I'm always up for suggestions. And let's just keep this thing going. And does anyone have anything they want to announce? Is there anything? This is your opportunity if you want to promote or announce anything at this point. Good.
Thanks, Ian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for
Thank you so
for
much.
having this.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, with
Yeah,
that,
thanks everybody who shared too.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Good.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll do it again. I think this was a
Yes.
success. So let's plan to do this on the third Wednesday, just as we normally do, unless there's going to be some weird conflict. But yeah, again, thank you all. I did record this just to try it out. If I'm not going to post it anywhere, but just please let me know. I'm not planning to post this or do anything unless there are some poets on here that want the video and we can edit it down and put it on.
Tell everybody about that exorcism. That shit was crazy.
I want to hear that.
Crazy.
That exorcism
I'm sure we'll hear
story
that
was
story
crazy.
more. I'm looking.
I was rolling.
Now, next time you have to have an exorcist love story, Pan.
Yes, I need it.
I'm just afraid to go around that lake now, man. Jeez.
I do. I have a fucking demon in the Virginia Lake.
Yeah, you did.
Man,
Crazy.
right by the dispensary. I'm gonna check in on it when I go over that way.
Nice.
All right, y'all. Well, one love. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant night, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Y'all later.
Stay safe out there.
Thank you.